I'm Tessa, a 24-year-old IT professional, and growing up, I was an only child. My parents, Lauren and Henry, always wanted more kids, but after years of trying and multiple miscarriages, they eventually gave up. When I was 15, they decided to become foster parents. At first, they took in older kids, close to 18, but after some time, they wanted to foster younger children. That's when they brought home 13-year-old twins, Adam and Lily. The twins had a rough past. They'd been bounced from one foster home to another, dealing with all kinds of trauma. Their father was in prison for assault, and they had seen more than any kids their age should have. My parents, especially my mom, put all their energy into making the twins feel welcome, particularly Lily. They showered them with gifts, new clothes, the latest gadgets, even trips to amusement parks. Meanwhile, I got none of that. At first, I understood. The twins had been through a lot, and I knew they needed the attention. But things started to feel off. I was originally sharing my room with Lily, which was fine, but then my parents decided to move me into Adam's room after installing a bunk bed, giving Lily my room entirely. I was horrified. I didn't feel safe sharing a room with a boy I barely knew, especially one with such a difficult background. I raised my concerns, but my parents dismissed them, saying Lily needed her own space because of her past trauma. They expected me to just compromise, but I couldn't shake the bad feeling. Adam gave off a weird vibe that made me incredibly uncomfortable. I stopped showering at home, rarely used the bathroom, and when I did, I wouldn't even turn the lights on. I didn't know why, but I just couldn't relax. Then one night, something happened, something that confirmed all my fears. I won't go into detail, but it was bad. I called my Uncle Ben, who lived several states away. I was so distraught that I couldn't even form words at first. When I finally told him what was going on, he was furious. He immediately confronted my parents, but instead of listening, they got angry at me. They said Adam needed help and accused me of making things worse. Uncle Ben wasn't having any of it. He drove all the way down, picked me up, and put me in a hostel nearby so I could finish my senior year of high school. After graduation, I moved far away and enrolled in community college, cutting off all contact with my parents. I still deal with PTSD and anxiety because of everything that happened, and I can't afford regular therapy, but I'm doing my best to cope. Last week, my parents called out of the blue. Lily is now pregnant, and they wanted me to come home and help with the baby. They had the audacity to say I wasn't doing anything important with my life, that my community college degree wouldn't get me far, and they hinted that if I helped them out, they could get me into a real college once the baby was in daycare. I couldn't believe it. I laughed and hung up the phone. But now, all the memories and trauma from that time have come flooding back, and I feel overwhelmed. Why do they act like nothing ever happened? Why do they think I owe them anything after all the pain they caused me? First off, I want to thank everyone who commented and offered their support. Since my original post, Uncle Ben has been amazing. He's been helping me pay for more therapy sessions, and I'm finally starting to feel a little like myself again. It's been a long road, but therapy is helping me unpack everything. Lily had her baby a few days ago, and my mom has been blowing up my phone ever since, begging me to come home and help. She keeps asking why I haven't come back yet, but I never told her I would. I've just left her messages on read because I can't deal with it right now. My therapist insists I block them completely, but I haven't had the courage to do that yet. I feel guilty, even though I know I shouldn't. I'm set to graduate soon and have already lined up a job. My focus now is on building a future for myself, free from the toxic mess my parents created. Thank you again to everyone who's encouraged me. It means the world. A couple of weeks after Lily had her baby, the messages from my mom started coming in less frequently. Maybe she was finally realizing that I wasn't going to swoop in and save the day like I always had when I was younger. But then, out of nowhere, I got a message from Lily herself. It was short, almost painfully short. "Hey, I really need to talk to you. Please." My heart sank. I hadn't spoken to Lily since I left home, and honestly, I wasn't sure I ever wanted to. The memories of our time together, the way she was treated like a princess while I was cast aside, still haunted me. But curiosity got the better of me. After staring at the screen for what felt like hours, I finally responded, "What do you want?" She replied almost instantly, "It's about Adam." I froze. Every muscle in my body tensed up as I felt that old, familiar sense of dread creep in. What could she possibly want to say about him? The last thing I wanted was to reopen the wounds I had worked so hard to close. But something inside me told me to hear her out. I agreed to meet up with her at a cafe a few towns over, someplace neutral, where I could leave quickly if I needed to. When I walked in, I barely recognized her. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept in days. Her usually vibrant, carefree demeanor was gone, replaced by a quiet, almost defeated look. The baby was with her, fast asleep in a stroller. "Thanks for coming," she said quietly, not meeting my eyes. I nodded, sitting across from her. "What's going on?" She took a deep breath, staring at her hands. "I know what he did to you. I'm so sorry." The air left my lungs like I'd been punched. My mind raced as I tried to process what she just said. For so long, I had convinced myself that no one in my family cared. No one had acknowledged what happened that night, and I had been left to deal with it on my own. But here was Lily, apologizing, finally. "Why now?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know back then," she admitted, her voice shaky. "But a few months ago, Adam confessed to me. He told me everything. I didn't want to believe it. I tried to pretend it wasn't true, but after the baby came, I couldn't keep lying to myself. I clenched my fists, trying to keep my emotions in check. "And you waited until now to tell me?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "I didn't know how to face you. I feel so guilty, Tessa. I don't know how to fix this." I wanted to scream, to tell her that there was no way to fix what had happened, that nothing could erase the years of pain and fear I had carried with me. But instead, I just sat there, staring at her, unsure of what to say. "He's still living with our parents," she said, wiping away her tears. "They act like nothing's wrong, like he didn't do anything. But I can't stay there anymore. Not with my baby. I don't trust him around her." I felt a cold chill run down my spine. "What are you saying, Lily?" She hesitated before answering. "I need to get out. I need to leave before something happens. I don't have anywhere else to go. I was hoping you could help me." Help her? The girl who had taken everything from me. My room, my parents' attention, my sense of safety. And now she wanted me to rescue her? The irony of it all was almost laughable. But as I looked at her, I realized something. She was trapped, just like I had been. And she was scared, just like I had been. I leaned back in my chair, trying to collect my thoughts. "Lily, you have to understand, I can't just forget what happened. What Adam did to me, it broke me. I'm still trying to pick up the pieces." "I know," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I'm not asking you to forgive me or him. I don't know where else to turn." For a long time, we sat in silence. Part of me wanted to tell her to figure it out on her own, to walk away and never look back. But another part of me, a smaller, quieter part, knew that I couldn't let her face this alone. No one should have to live in fear of the people who are supposed to protect them. "I'll help you," I finally said, surprising even myself. "But on my terms." Lily looked up, her eyes wide with relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Tessa. I don't know how to repay you." I shook my head. "You don't. Just make sure that baby is safe. That's all I ask." As I left the cafe, a strange sense of calm washed over me. For the first time in years, I felt like I had taken control of my story. Maybe this was my way of healing, of finally putting the past behind me. Helping Lily wouldn't fix everything, but it was a start. And for now, that was enough.